All right, we tried this for a second time. What's up, gentlemen? It's me, Jake, Tyler, Jordan. Say hi, everyone.
What up?
Welcome to Keepin It
Hola.
Reel. We're gonna go deep within a dream, 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 and then we're gonna kick out of one dream and then go back to that third dream. So we watched Inception.
You lost me there.
Same with this fucking movie.
See that I was able to follow.
Yeah. We picked two Fincher movies, and then Tyler was like, let's do Inception in the middle of
I still don't think I was as adamant as you make it out to be, but
no, I didn't have anything planned, and we're like, let's do Inception. And I was like, oh, whatever, fuck it. So we did Inception. And I'm gonna let Jordan go first because you haven't been here in 2 weeks. What's up, man?
Yo.
Yeah.
So what movie we watched? Inception? Yeah. That was crazy. I gotta say, every time I watch this movie, I just catch little different things.
Yes.
And how did you guys know who Tom Hardy was when you guys watched this movie?
No, definitely not.
Because that's something that came back to me. I don't think I had any clue who Tom Hardy was. And I think this is the first time I watched this movie and I actually knew who Tom Hardy was.
When was the last time you saw this movie?
It's been a very, very long time.
Like, came out in theaters.
More than 5 years?
Yeah, it's been much more than 5 years.
Wow. Lucky you.
No, it's a great movie, but I just haven't watched it. I don't know, Jake, what do you think?
I enjoyed this movie. I think the first time I watched it, maybe it was just like memory forgetting because it was so long ago that I watched it, but I feel like maybe I didn't fully comprehend it the first time. I think this is only my second time watching it.
Also lucky.
So I was spending way more time like trying to figure it out and make sense of it all. I think when did this movie come out?
2010.
2000. Yeah.
10? Yeah, I mean, I was probably
Freshman
10?
High school.
10. Yeah, I was 10. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I guess
15.
probably freshman or sophomore year in high school when I watched it the first time. Maybe I just couldn't figure it out. I don't know, but I mean, I liked it then. I liked it more now. I was a big fan.
I'm jealous of you both because this is my second time watching it in like the last 5 months. And that's not to say, don't give me that look, Mason. I don't know if video gets posted anymore, but don't give me that look.
It still does.
It's that movie that you'll never get back that first time you watched it. Like the first time you watch it, it's that oh shit moment. It's the what is this? I don't understand it. Wow. And your mind's just blown. And then the couple times after that, it's like, I'm still kind of confused. I got to piece it together, but like, that's like what's really gripping me. I got to say, after the 4th, 5th, 6th viewing,
Oh my God, you've watched it that many times?
I've probably seen it 5 to 6 times. It loses its rewatch value a bit, but to the point Jordan was making is there are these little like small details and breadcrumbs along the way in the movie that like even now, the 6th time watching it, I was still catching things that I'd never caught before. So I think that's what makes it an enjoyable movie and just a kick-ass movie all around. I'm just like so annoyed. I want to punch Mason through the screen because he's giving me this look this whole time. Like the entire that entire little mini monologue I had, I'm just getting this smirk from Mason. Like he just hates every single.
Well, let's see what you have to say, Mason.
It's the most overrated movie ever.
It's so
it's perfectly fine. Like, it's not bad, but the mind-blowing experience is like, I saw it in theaters with my family, and I remember all of us leaving, and we were like, what's the hype? Like, this is fine. It's just like, it's cool. It looks great. Nolan will make everything look wonderful. Like, that's his MO, is everything's beautiful and like over the top and awesome. And I love that. But besides that, it's a movie that tries to be super philosophical, and it's not philosophical at all. There's not one time I'm like, wow, this movie's deep.
I didn't think it was trying to be philosophical.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It tries to be so much deeper than
big question.
What's your big question? What dream are we in?
No, yeah. Well, it's kind of like, are we humans or are we dancers? Like, I don't know, man. Are we living or are we dreaming? Like,
that wasn't.
How do we know?
That wasn't what I got from this movie, but.
I think the thing that I found so impressive about it was not trying to be deep or mind-blowing twist or any philosophical whatever, but the thing I thought was so cool about it was the complexity of the plot of their plan of how they were going to pull off this trick almost. I mean, you could almost think of it like a heist movie. Like they have this plan to go in, get the job done, accomplish whatever their goal is. Things go wrong. They adapt. They come up with another plan that's maybe even more brilliant than the one they just spent weeks preparing for. And like that is what I thought was super cool about it. They're like thinking on their feet and essentially doing it all just to manipulate this guy's mind. But that's what I thought was so impressive about it. They had this super cool plan, went wrong. They came up with a better one and kept doing that like 4 times.
The first hour of this movie drives me absolutely insane. It's literally the problem we had with Transformers is when they don't think we're smart enough to figure it out. So it's literally Leonardo DiCaprio and Elliot Page walking around asking questions of like what's going on, and he's just telling you.
Yeah.
And I hate that. That drives me fucking mad.
That's fine. I can kind of get behind that. I definitely think they over-explain the plot a little bit up front. Although I'm hesitant to say over-explain because I think it's the right amount of explanation. Maybe the way they're doing it is a little too obvious. I think the first 30 to 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes are a little bit slow for sure. It's necessary. Like it's necessary plot creation. It is. Even though it is like a bit like when they're sitting in the helicopter and they're having that exchange about like essentially why he needs them to go and do Inception. It's definitely like we're doing this to do that, to do this. And it's just an over explanation, but I don't know. I feel like you need it because it sets up the, middle of the movie that is going through the 3 different levels of the dream. And it's maybe a little slow, but I think it's like a necessary slow.
I think that's a good way to put it. They explained it the amount it needed to be explained. They just did it too explicitly and didn't leave you to infer anything on your own.
Yeah.
Like it would have been better if they were just setting up the heist, because that part's fine. Like I enjoyed them setting up the heist, but the whole introduction to everything and then like the folding over scene is like the classic scene everyone remembers of this. But
the folding over scene?
When the whole Paris folds over, which is awesome looking, don't get me wrong. But like I could have done without all that because I didn't need the explanation of how she's creating it. I get that she's an architect. Here's a maze. Let's build a maze so we can get through it.
No, but see, I think that's I don't know. That's not giving enough credit to it because I think if we went that direction with this movie and Christopher Nolan, we always jumped into creating the heist with these complex dream layers, then we'd be bitching about the complete opposite where we say they didn't tell us anything about this. We don't understand it. And it took me 4 viewings to actually like wrap my brain around it, which is almost like Tenet. Like look at the reaction Tenet has had. It's like, oh, he's trying to like over science it and be way too philosophical.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good call out. But yeah, I just like I think Tenet is the example of what you're describing, Mason, where the whole plot isn't explicitly defined.
You have to build the world before you just throw the viewer into it because
true.
That'd be like, I mean, it's like Harry Potter. Like they have to show you that you go through this wall, like, and all this magical world that we're living in, because none of the stuff that they do actually makes any sense in our world.
And also,
Harry Potter is the main character. This is the difference. Leonardo DiCaprio is the main character in this. We have already introduced to the world.
No, but like you said, though,
not from a creating.
No, yeah, I mean the science of going into dreams using this weird machine where there's a dreamer and the person's dream you're going into, and then the person who's dreaming it, and then
see, it's just too convoluted. You don't need that. You just say, "Hey, we go into people's dreams and we hooked up with this machine." End of story. And people would have been like, "Yeah, it's a movie. It's a movie." People aren't going to overanalyze it and be like, "Oh my god, what's going on?"
No, there are 2 very key parts of the plot that like poke holes in what you're describing. One, the dreamer's subconscious like knows the layout of the dream, and the dreamer's subconscious can now exploit it. So in the case of like Maul, that basically haunts his subconscious, she can exploit the creator of the
I have
dream.
so many issues.
And
with
then, and then 2 is the projections themselves, which are like a figment of your subconscious. They turn on the creator, and like we needed to understand that piece when Elliot Page and Leo DiCaprio were like going through that whole exchange of the initial creation. We needed to understand that so that we could understand later on in the movie, like they had to be on the lookout for these subconscious turning on each dreamer. So I feel like those are 2 critical points that if we just glossed over them, a lot of the movie wouldn't have made sense.
Stuff would have just come out of nowhere.
I mean, how many movies have we seen stuff come out of nowhere and no one's questions?
Yeah, but then we complain
And then
about
we
it. That's
sit here
my
and bitch
but
about
then
it
we
for half
bitch
an
about
hour.
it. Like,
I don't think
like that was Tenet, and no spoilers. Like, but
you could spoil it for me. I'm not going to watch it.
No, but I mean,
guarantee
everybody
you.
knows, like anybody that is even remotely plugged into culture understands that movie got shit on for obviously a lot of reasons, probably the biggest being like the sound mixing. So that aside, but also people hated the plot. And what you're describing is
I hated the plot of this movie. So it goes hand in hand. They're both plots are stupid. It's just
you just don't like to. Do you even dream, Mason? That's a good,
all the
that's a
time,
good
and that's my
Do you
issue
like
with
dreams.
Yeah, I dream all the time, and that's my issue.
Okay.
Is like I'm never in my dream and like wake up and was like, oh, that's a good idea. I should probably keep that. It's a fucking dream. I don't know anyone who's like, this is a cool, realistic thing, and like it's just it's in my nitpicks.
Oh,
I
I've had that happen.
I didn't even.
Have you ever hijacked your own dream though? Like you realized you're dreaming, so you started doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
all the time.
Okay. Well, I've done that, and I just think it's the coolest thing. That's what this movie makes me think of. So
See, and
absolutely.
this stuff. So we
all
watched
the
7.
time. Wait, hold on. All the time, Mason. You're
We
telling me when you dream,
If I ever wake up in the middle of a
dream master.
If I ever wake up in the middle of a dream and fall back and start the dream over again, I can control the dream from that point on.
Every time,
Almost every time, yeah.
Jordan, you're
Damn,
nodding.
That's
You
really
too?
rare.
no, it's not like every single
'Cause I'm,
dream
like,
I
trying
can
to
do
get
it,
notes
but
if
like
you
what
guys
makes,
could
but
do
like
this.
seriously,
I've
no,
done
like,
that like
if I
twice, and
wake
I was
up-
like so
Yes.
pumped.
press snooze, rolled over. If I press snooze, roll over, and I'm able to like truly fall back to sleep, not like doze, but like truly get back into that REM cycle, absolutely. Because
Maybe you guys are just too meta for this movie. Then
You also like
Wait, why do you set your alarm so early that you're able to get back into a REM cycle before your alarm goes off again?
because my alarm typically goes off in the like that's just my sleep cycle. It's not that early. It's just more like I don't know. It's just
It
how
takes a
happens,
long time
man.
to get back into REM once you wake up.
your sleep schedule is as convoluted.
Sometimes
and stupid
I
as
can
You
this
wake up
easily
movie.
at
get
1
back
and
in
then
there.
go back to sleep till 6.
But
That'd be a dope dream.
we talked about 7 last week in Gone Girl, and Tyler, you aren't impressed with Fincher, which is fine. Like I totally get it. I'm not impressed with Nolan. It's just
that's fine. I totally don't get it.
he's more of he's more of like a deeper
Visionary
feeling. Let's mess with
creator.
time. And
Mastermind.
he doesn't know how to look at the human aspect of things. Where I'm all for let's watch characters and see how characters react to a situation.
Wait.
And I needed a little more grounded.
No. What you just said? No. Wait, we gotta talk this out real fast.
I wasn't
because-
even fired up coming into this podcast, and I've
And
become
now you
fired
are.
up. Yeah, like
How,
I knew
because
it would.
Mason,
This is the
Hobbs'
reverse of
thing
7.
with Mao to me is
Yeah.
completely human, though. That to me is extreme. That's an extremely important element to being human.
He
in my
should feel
opinion.
fucking guilty. He killed his fucking wife. We'll get into that later. He emotionally abused the shit out of his wife before she fucking killed herself. He should feel guilty.
wait, what are we talking about?
Well,
That
Oh,
whole
never mind.
guilty
We'll get back
sub-
to it.
yeah,
I guess we'll
the
get
whole
back to
guilty
it.
subconscious that he fucking killed his wife. He is the reason his wife is dead. He emotionally abused his wife by fucking with her head and made her not think anything's real, and she dove off a fucking building.
They both got trapped into limbo together.
And then he planted a thing in her head, and that's how he knew Inception worked. So he made her think dreams weren't real, and that's reality wasn't real. So when she came back to life, that's why she killed herself.
Well, that's what he had to do to get her to
get
kill
her
herself in limbo to come
To
back
come
to
out.
reality.
Yeah,
But
And then
was
she
stuck
killed herself in
limbo 'cause
real-
She didn't want to leave.
She
No,
killed
I
herself
know,
in real
but
life.
Yeah, but like that's the definition of a catch-22 because like she
Yeah, there was a no win.
She was just
situation
gonna
for
live.
sure.
She was comfortable leaving her kids, leaving her family, leaving literally everybody behind for the sake of just like living in her own world and creating as she wanted to. And he recognized, hey, that's not practical. We should try and get out of here. So like, let's get hit by the train and come out and
So make
come
her
back to the real
decision
world.
for her to leave it. I'm gonna just go on this platform of like, leave her in
What is
limbo.
that?
She wants to be in limbo. Leave her in limbo. You lived your life
fair.
with.
You're right. You're right.
You-
You can't argue that.
You
can't argue
lived
that.
her life with her. If you want a life with your kids and she doesn't want to go and wants to leave her kids behind, I'm sorry, but fuck her.
Oh, you're saying it so cavalier though. Like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't
you
think
know
it's
what?
that simple when you're in that situation.
It's your kids.
Yeah.
It's your
Exactly.
wife.
It's your kids. It's your like. That's
You
exactly.
haven't seen your kids in 80 years and you know they're just wondering what the hell you're doing?
It wasn't 80 years to them. It was like a few hours. It wasn't a sleep.
and they're smart enough to know that. Like they know they
Are
well,
they?
Yeah,
Because
they
it's
are.
fucking with all their heads that they don't know what's real and what's not, and they have to have things to spin and wear
See,
and all
but
this shit.
according to
up
that
alive.
They have
logic,
to have things
see,
spin
okay,
and
a
shit.
lot of the time through the movie, they mention that limbo's mush, like it turns your brain into mush. So
So hence
so
that she's
following
not,
your
they're not
so
smart.
following your logic, it's her brain turned to mush. His brain was mush, but then he like unmushed it. He like started to think normally, but we should just leave her with her mushed brain in limbo and her like out of touch with the reality brain, and just like leave her behind. And we recognize that we need to, we being Leo DiCaprio, needs to come back to the real world. So here we go. I'm gonna come back in and leave Maul behind, my wife.
What
I mean,
happened?
that's killing her too. Like,
Oh, I know. He should feel guilty. He killed her in every way. I'm just
no, he didn't kill her in every way. They both got
See,
trapped in limbo.
I could see the argument that he killed her by pushing her to experiment, going deeper and deeper in dreams when she didn't want to.
That's true. I
I
can see
can't
that.
track what you're saying, Mason, because you're right. He would have been leaving her behind to basically be brain dead for the rest of her life.
they lived a life together.
Which you could argue
that's-
is just as bad.
They lived a life together. That's the part I have with it, is he had this whole life, and his whole point out on is go back to see his kids. Like, I feel like that part of your life has been fulfilled. And if she doesn't want to go back to the things that you guys created and then do that whole part again with life and see them grow, I don't know many people that would be like, I'm not going to choose my kid over you.
No, but that's applying like,
No.
but that's, it's almost like a sane insane situation, because she, like, it's not that simple. Like, they're not both thinking like level-headed clearly. They're not making a decision of, hey,
Obviously
my life is
not.
great, I'm going to choose this over, like, I'm going to choose A over B. Like,
Yeah, that's
She-
true. She was
like-
convinced that was real.
yeah, exactly. And like, she couldn't grasp the fact that they had another life. They had tangible responsibilities in another world, the real world. And he came to that realization.
Right.
She did, but she locked it away. She locked the totem away that made her realize that they were still in the dream world because she liked the living in this world. She was being incredibly selfish, and he was being just as equally as selfish. But if you have two selfish people, just let them both be selfish. That's my answer for it. Just let
Well,
them be
Such an
selfish.
oversimplification.
I think you are oversimplifying it in that if he leaves her there and gets himself hit by the train and she stays in limbo, how that materializes in the real world is she's now brain dead and he is now taking care of
like
her
sh-
brain
that,
dead
that,
body
that
for the
is,
next
that
60
is
years.
just as much
So they're old.
murder as
They're old, right? Do you just live forever because you're in a dream and you never die of old age? I feel like even in a dream, you're going to die of old age.
you don't die of an old age in a dream, I don't think. No.
It's an
I don't
infinite
know.
dream.
It's a
When the
dream. We don't
brain
know what's
stops
going on.
working.
We don't know what's going
Now,
on.
did they actually age in the dream, or did
Yeah,
they spend
they
so much?
specifically
No,
said they aged in the dream.
No,
They have
he
a-
said they spent a lifetime together. They didn't
And they showed them-
necessarily
they
age.
showed
they
them
showed
old.
them being old, but I'm not sure. Yeah, but
And they
I'm not
also
sure if
showed-
that's like is that fit like that? I don't think that was physical aging.
Right. That's just
I
a
think-
projection of their dream.
I think they showed. Yeah, exactly. I think they showed us
Well,
them
the
being
projection
old
of the
just to
dream
say
dying-
like, hey, they've spent a lot of time together.
the projection of the dream dying, even if they're old, and then they die in that to finally wake up because it's a natural wake.
They said it doesn't work like that.
They got sedate. They were heavily sedated and they went under like a natural sleep. So what happens when the sedation wears off? They had the kicks and everything.
It's different when you're in limbo, is what they said. When it's limbo, you're stuck. Your brain is stuck.
That's where
there
the brain
forever,
dead comes
and your
back
body
in. So,
never. Your brain never comes back to your body when it's limbo.
So, yeah. So,
if it's another level of dream, then what you're saying is correct. But if it's limbo, it's not like that.
Yeah, and if the sedation wears off when you're in limbo, like Maul and Leo DiCaprio, I suck at getting the character names right. Cobb. If you're Maul and Cobb and you're in limbo, sedation wears off. We're coming back to the point of like you're brain dead in real life. I
thought they were just confused on what the hell was going on.
No, their brain essentially gets left in limbo and never comes back to their body.
Yes.
And then they're just vegetables forever.
Yes.
Until their body dies. Which is effectively going to be the same as if she killed herself.
He should have just murdered her in the dream. murder suicide in the dream. She wouldn't have to realize what's reality or not. She'd just be scared awake. That's the solution to this.
I guess that's one solution.
You're saying before they got into limbo.
Limbo. They got hit by a train.
Instead of getting her to comply and commit suicide, just kill her and then kill yourself.
Yeah.
Then you both come back and
I guess that brings up like a other question. And like, don't get me wrong. At this point, I'm sounding like I'm the biggest Inception fanboy, and I absolutely will recognize where it's slow and where there's some holes. But that also brings up the whole, like, you can't just kill yourself and in limbo and just like suddenly be out, right? Because that's what they would do in other parts of the dream. So
they literally did that.
Yeah,
they literally just got hit by a train and that's how they died.
The only reason they
have to be like a certain kind of
no. The
suicide?
Only reason they couldn't do that in the other situation is because their physical bodies were under that specific kind of sedation
and that's why I think they would have just naturally woke up, because they weren't under a specific kind of sedation. It was such a powerful sedation. That's why they had to get.
But I don't think they don't actually age and grow old and die of old age in their dream.
But then, Jake, why can, if you're Elliot Page, why can you jump off a balcony and then that's what kicks you back in? It when you're under that same sedation.
Because falling is the only way. The falling, because he said, remember, he designed a specific thing that makes you super sedated, except it doesn't impact your inner ear. So falling is the only thing that works.
Thank you.
And they never state that Cobb and Maul took a sedation to go to dream.
Right.
So what happens if their natural REM cycle wakes them up and the dream's over?
It doesn't. That's not how it works. Their brain is like disconnected from their body. Or their mind is disconnected from their brain. However you want to put
get
it.
out shit right there.
Mason, it's fiction.
Some get out.
Yeah, Jordan's right. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's fiction with a specifically designed set of rules that govern this stuff, which they did.
A specific science, kind of like.
Yeah, it's a made up science, but it is a science. And they did lay out all these rules. And that's why it took so long to get into it.
Rather than not lay out any rules. I don't want rules. You're in a movie. Just fucking do it.
Then it's all just BS.
It's a movie about going into dreams and planting in a mind.
But that's
all BS.
That's the thing about creating fiction, is you have to create a set of rules and sciences that govern the reality that you're creating. Even though it's made up, you have to make it reality that is under a certain set of rules. And that's what they did. And they had to lay out all those rules.
Which Jake,
otherwise all these questions that you're asking don't have an answer.
They don't have an answer to begin with.
They did answer.
We've been arguing with them the whole time.
I just
hearing you say that reminds me, like, this is why again, watching it for the fifth time, it felt like a slow 30 to 45 minutes, but like it's a necessary and very much needed.
Yeah, because they laid out all those rules that govern all the stuff that you just asked.
Yeah,
they did answer all that in the first 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever it was.
Stupid.
Okay.
I have nothing else to say about it. So let's go into summaries of movies. We'll go into the sections because I have more to talk about it with the plot and everything. Because there is a lot to do that's really good with this movie. I just have a problem with Nolan overcomplicating everything to a point where it's not needed. And I can get why everyone loves him and he's a visionary, and I wasn't bored. Like the second half of the movie is phenomenal. Each layer of the dream is done great and it's awesome. And I like that a lot. And then learning how he like planned each stage for specific movies that influenced him was really cool. I don't know if you guys watched the video I sent you.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, but they had a bunch of stuff about that and how each level is each character is like subconscious, and it's like has to do with a movie that influenced Nolan. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Because he is like, I'll go into that right now. Then with like our relationship with Nolan. First movie we definitely saw was the Batman movies. Either The Dark Knight or Batman Begins was the first Nolan movie that we saw. Yeah. And his set pieces are unfucking believable. Yeah. The fact that he actually built 100-foot long room that rotates and they actually ran through and fought each other is just mind blowing.
You hotel room, zero gravity hotel room.
Yeah, that's all real.
Once the van started rolling around.
And that's like, you got to give him credit for that, because everything is just like, how do you think of doing that?
Yeah, and it's crazy.
He's creative.
When you say that's real, that you're saying like
it's a real set
fighting, basically.
No, they built a room that rotated,
and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and the stunt fat guys were like running at each other.
And that's what he tries to not use CGI when he can, because Tenet was the same way. Like Tenet has as much CGI as like a romance or as like a rom-com, which is hats off. Like his set pieces are insane.
It's like the fact that he actually drove a train through like a middle of like a town that he built to blow up cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's all real.
That is insane.
It's just stupid. Like, I don't get how you do that. I don't get how you're like, this is the only way I'm going to do it. And kudos to Nolan. Like, his movies are unreal to see in the movie theater. And I really hope they open back up for that reason alone. So I was incredibly entertained for that reason. And I just don't get the hype, but I understand like this is a very entertaining movie, but everyone's all asking all these questions. And I never had any of the questions that everyone had watching the movie. I'm more of just, these are the questions when like I'm sitting here thinking about it and I talk about it and I had a nitpick. Those were the issues I had. It was like, if I got to sit here and have issues with it, because I only saw it once, and that was when it was in theaters, and I left saying it was fine and it was fun, and that was the end of it. I wasn't mind blown. The ending didn't make me wonder if the top fell or not. Like, I just assumed the top fell. It was just one. I was 15. Like, I wasn't thinking that deep about the movie, and I still didn't. It was just fun. And it's like, why can't it just be a fun action movie and then not have to have all these questions?
Yeah, I agree. It was just, you're right. It was visually appealing, really cool. Like those couple things you just mentioned, the zero gravity scenes are always cool to see, I think, in any movie, and they look
especially
good
when it's not CGI heavy.
Yeah,
it's just, and he makes him. I think he's the best person I've ever seen use IMAX. I don't think I've seen a person use IMAX the way he uses IMAX, and that's awesome. I mean, Dunkirk's beautiful.
It's also just loud.
Yeah,
I don't know
seriously.
if anyone else had to keep remote in hand toggling volume up and down.
It kept pissing off the dog, and he kept barking at it. It was a lot of.
It was just
noises.
whenever like the gunshots, especially as we'll get into it in the summary, but like when his subconscious comes to defend him and the gunshots are going off. Yeah.
That's.
Oh, Mason, you never did the summary. Shoot.
Yeah. Summary of the movie. Leonardo DiCaprio's a dream heister, and he puts a dream or idea in someone's head, and that's the movie.
Oh, come on.
That was the worst summary I've ever heard in my life.
Seriously, you did not do that
so
justice
bad.
at all.
Oh, wow. There was a beginning, a middle, and an end. See ya. I mean.
All right. Here, I'll paint a beautiful picture for you.
You don't need a beautiful picture. Just
we open up the movie with Cobb on the beach, and we realize not when we're watching it, but it's actually a flash forward, not a flash back. And then we go back to Sato and Cobb talking to each other about a deal, and how they're actually in a dream right then and there, and how it all backfires. And then Cobb sees his ex-wife, and we don't know if she's real or not because we're still not sure what the hell is going on. And then we realize, oh, it's a dream. And then they wake up and there's an angry mob calling for Saito, and he goes and gets thrown on the floor and starts rubbing his carpet as they're trying to get all this information from him. And then he realizes, oh, hey, this
You don't
isn't
need this much detail. Just more than one sentence is good.
But also, like, you're describing an amazing opening sequence, and I
I
can't.
never said it wasn't the opening sequence. I didn't say it wasn't good.
The summary is biased.
I just have issues with it.
All right, sorry. Keep going.
Okay, carry on.
Realizes he's not in his actual hotel room. It's actually another dream. They kick him out of that dream. Wake up. They all take off running out from the train. They try to split. Sato finds them, says, hey, I have another engineering company that is trying to take over. I need you to have them be dissolved by using Inception to implant idea in someone's head. And then they have to find a new architect because their architect sucks. And that is when we meet Elliot Page, who I'm not going to pronounce the character's name right.
Jake's got it.
Yeah, I got it down.
Do it.
It is. Oh shit. Ariadne. That's it.
And for those wondering, he's looking at his phonetic spelling.
Yeah, I had to write it out phonetically.
doc.
This took me a couple minutes of preparation before going. Ariadne is the character's name.
She's kind of our character into the what's happening, ask a lot of questions. Leonardo DiCaprio half-ass explains them. Kind of feels like he's phoning in this part. I'm going to be honest. This was the least impressive I've ever seen Leo, and I was very shocked. I was like, wow, I don't like you in this movie, Leo. And that's a hard thing to say. Like, he's still good, but I don't feel like he's giving full effort in the whole explanation part. And that might be part of the reason I'm having issues with it. Is anytime he's explaining something, I'm just like, dude, you're just reading lines. You're not actually acting. And after we've seen him,
before you keep going, I just want to say, anyone
disagree.
listening to this on audio and not watching the video, go to YouTube and watch this.
everyone's
Mason and
reaction.
Tyler's facial reactions are more entertaining than anything being said right now.
It's so dumb.
So they find Scarecrow, aka Peaky Blinders, aka I don't know the guy's actual name.
I was really hoping you'd say his name because I don't know either.
I had this conversation in my head where I was looking on the
Yes.
IMDb. I was like,
Alfred
Scarecrow, Peaky
Gideon,
Blinders,
right?
Literally.
What's his Oh fuck, I know it.
Hilarious.
Whatever. His dad dies. He's now in charge of the
Cillian Murphy.
Peaky Blinders from now on. He's in charge of this company. They have his father's funeral in LA because his father passed away. Then they knock him out, hijack his dream. Then we realize that he actually gets killed in his dream and he can't get killed in his dream. This is a really fucking hard movie to summarize. There's so much
you're
detail.
getting granular. You're
It is. I mean, if you give it enough detail for the summary to make sense, then it's going to be a 10-minute long summary.
Yeah.
So
They go into limbo. They have to get out of limbo. They get out of limbo, or we think they get out of limbo. Everyone's happy and smiling at each other on the airplane. Cop goes home after being accused of murdering his wife. Now he's not accused of murdering his wife. Sees his kid, spins the top, and then the top is just spinning, and then it wobbles, and then it cuts to black.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I was getting some major Gone Girl vibes.
That's what I was gonna because I've been using our Twitter more often, and I was gonna say we went from
you have?
Yeah, I just started doing it. I wasn't gonna just try to practice first before I actually was like, hey, go look at our Twitter.
Well, that's
and
cat's out of the bag.
it'll
Hey,
be
go
2
look at
weeks.
Twitter, people.
It'll be 2 weeks from now, so go look at it. There's probably like 12 tweets now.
By now, he's a pro.
I was gonna tweet that, like I was like, I don't want to watch Inception. My brain already hurts.
Conception.
again. I think we made a reference to this earlier, but like that is the name for a spoof movie. Like instead of like those scary movie spoofs.
It's someone hijacking a sperm. Why haven't someone done that?
No, don't get into the plot. Don't.
No, please stop.
Why haven't we written this movie?
Oh, this is gonna be a good movie. I have some good ideas.
Just wait.
Another podcast.
My 250-page screenplay is coming out soon.
Called
Man.
Conception.
I do not want to watch
it's
that
about.
movie.
But yeah, let's just get into it. Box of chocolates. I only have one line written down. I don't know if you guys have any lines written down. When we're introduced to Tom Hardy's character and they having the shootout in the first dream level of the dream heist, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like, hold on, I got an airsoft gun. Let's shoot these bad guys. And then Tom Hardy shows up and he's like, hey, got to dream bigger. Got to dream bigger, darling. And then pulls out a grenade launcher. I was like, that's just dope. And going into this, I have another nominee for people we want to use their charisma more often. We already have Ryan Gosling in Crazy Stupid Love. I now nominate Tom Hardy to join that category because he's fucking awesome in this movie.
It's a good one. Yeah, he is.
Awesome actor.
Why doesn't he do this more often? Why does he always have to have like a mask on and like be weird? Because after this, he's just weird and mumbles and grumbles and does all this crap. But like, he's just fun in this movie.
Yeah, he was fun and funny.
And Tyler, for you, the moment Mason felt seen in this movie, aka who Mason is as a character, is when they hand out in the poker chip and Leonardo DiCaprio looks at Tom Hardy and goes, still see you can't spell. He's like, yep, I'm Tom Hardy. Can't spell.
Again. Okay.
That was just
Good-
video.
Good comp on the spelling bit, but like of course you find the most attractive actor.
Yeah,
to comp
he always
yourself
does this.
to.
He finds some
wait.
way to like make fun of himself, but
Like,
manages
come
to
on.
use it to compare himself to the best looking dude
Like,
in the movie.
Tom Hardy is the man in this. Like,
Absolutely. That's why I did it. I am the
Jesus
man.
God.
Who doesn't agree with that? I wake up every morning and I piss excellence.
Okay, Ricky Bobby.
Anyone
Calm down.
else have a good line?
I just had
I
one.
would say, oh, go ahead, Jake.
You go.
Say it at the same
No.
time. It'll be like a different dream
Yeah.
mode or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be like
Stagger it.
Step Brothers. Okay. 1, 2. Let's do karate in the garage.
Basement.
Oh.
I thought.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Awkward silence.
My favorite line was when it was right after they're in the first dream level where the guy's driving the van with everybody in the backseat of the van and he tumbles over the side and like rolls down the hill like 3 times, comes to land on his wheels and he turns around. He's like, did you see that? And realizes everyone is like dead asleep. And he's just like, oh, and just starts driving away.
Why wasn't that a kick? Why wasn't the tumbling a kick?
Yeah, I've had that thought.
I don't
so
know. I had
that's
that question several times throughout.
Yeah, that's a fair question. I think my answer to that is because the sedation is configured a specific way. They're up against the clock to like do this kick at a certain time. I think the sedation was still too heavy at that point when that whole tumble thing happened. And they still had another 3 minutes or something within that specific world until they got to the bridge where they were actually going to kick off the side of it. So I think they were just still way too sedated to actually have anything wake them up.
Maybe it wasn't enough of a free fall too. Like it has to be a complete free fall. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I had that question too.
It's a fair question though. It's a fair question.
I didn't even think of that. Someone else did, so I'll give the credit to those guys. Just I thought I would ask and see if you guys had any better answers. Jordan, do you got a line?
No, but I think this movie, I just want to give a shout out to Dreidels. Because like you could just like, I think that's what I would use.
Yeah, shout out Dreidel.
Just be like, yo, man.
That's a quick wait, save that.
Clay.
Save that because that's one of my. If we're gonna be stupid, let's be smart about it. Is what's all our totems.
Does that mean you have like a weighted dreidel, or is it just like a dreidel that spins?
Does it when you spin the
I think you
dreidel?
have
Does
to-
it only spin sideways? Does it actually? Is it not actually a top? Is it
or maybe
like,
a cork dreidel?
We'll find out. You just have to wait to listen to that part later in the podcast.
Okay, Tyler,
Well,
what's
but
your
also
line?
don't tell us because then I'm gonna sneak into your dreams and you're not gonna be able to.
You're
kill
never
me.
gonna know if you're in limbo or not.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That sounds awful.
That'd be kinda
I would
dope.
say my line goes to. I have a couple.
real love.
One that's sort of a joke, and then the second's more of just a moment. To start off with the joke, it's Eames, and he says, "If we're going to perform Inception, then we need an imagination," and that just screams Mason for this movie. If we're gonna perform this movie and execute on actually making this a badass movie, then Mason needs a little bit more imagination.
And you're Joseph Gordon-Levitt when I bring up a good idea, and you're like, "Wow, that's actually a good idea," and your condescending tone really helps me at the heart.
All right, I'll take it. JBL, baby. And then it's not as much a like specific quote, but toward the end of the movie, when Leo looks at Elliot Page and says, like, you have to tell me the plans right now, otherwise like this whole thing's gonna go to shit. And she realizes in that moment, oh my God, I do have to tell him. And then that's like the key that brings Maul in. And then, you know, not to jump to the end of the movie, but that's obviously what creates a little bit of a headache there at the very end.
Well, let's get into that. Let's get into that with the real moments brought to you by our emotions. When Elliot Page realizes that his character can control the dream, it's probably Ardini. I don't know. Ariadne control the dream and just starts folding everything and just building bridges and the doors and everything. I was just blown away by how it looked. I was like, I'm not listening to anything Leo's saying because I'm tired
of the mirrors. Like that.
That whole sequence. And
for the staircases that
wrapped
in on themselves.
When everything blew up and because they realized that they're in a dream. And I liked how it was like, hey, you don't actually know where your dream starts because that's true. Like you just start dreaming. I was like, that's really, cool. Like kudos. That's a lot of effort and research to do. And no one never thought of that when I was dreaming. So just that. And then wondering what I would do with my own dreams. Like how crazy would it be if I could go like super crazy and be like, yeah, I know what's going on. Where did Jordan go? I don't know. Bye, Jordan. So all that was nuts. I really like that. That was just that's like, I think the first moment I was like blown away by visual effects.
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, that sequence is pretty damn good. I would also just say that the end of that situation where she's Ariadne, when they're walking through and with Leo DiCaprio, and then again the projections converge and go to stab Ariadne, like that's terrifying. Can you imagine that in your dream? Like if you're the dream constructor, and Ariadne did not realize that like that was going to take place.
Oh yeah.
You never been stabbed in your dream before?
Because they hadn't I mean, yeah, it's one thing to get stabbed in your dream. It's another to get stabbed when you have that much power and control over the dream and have it's very lucid.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to that point in your dream. I mean, I don't know about you, but whenever I get stabbed in a dream, it's because I fell asleep in a weird position and my like foot fell asleep or something, and now it's like stinging. But it's not like getting stabbed with a knife. It's not that.
This is like it doesn't have anything to do with this movie besides the dream part. But I fell asleep in Apollo. My 90-pound lab was on my arm. And I fell asleep with my arm out. And I didn't realize it was out. And I woke up and I got shot in my dream. And he like jumped up.
Yeah.
So he jumped up and I went to go move. My arm was asleep and it didn't come with me. So I thought it was gone. And I freaked out for a second. And then when I rolled over, it slapped me. Because like the blood flow started coming back and like the natural flow. And I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm alive.
I've had that happen to me like twice, probably, where a limb falls asleep to the point where it legit feels like it's not there anymore.
Oh, it was terrifying. It's the worst feeling ever.
Yeah, that is the worst way to wake up in the middle of the night. Like, I don't remember getting this arm amputated.
The idea of guilt and trapping someone, memory, and like a room that they can't leave at the bottom of an elevator.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
It's just fucked up. That's what I wanted to say.
So I have a thought on that because yes, that's the case, but it's also his projection.
Yeah,
right.
That wasn't
Like
her
it's
conscious.
projection of
It's his,
her.
it is, but it's his guilt, and that we bury our guilt so far down that we have to lock it away so it doesn't affect
I
us.
see what
I
you're
thought
saying.
that was a really fucked up visual aspect.
You're right.
View of it.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point. Yeah.
That yeah, I agree. I was just thinking like more broadly about Maul within this movie, and I was sitting here kind of saying like they very subtly touch on it, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt at one point is like, "Oh, Maul, she was beautiful. Like she was a delight. She was a pleasure to be around."
Mhm.
And our entire understanding of Maul up to that point and even well after it is that she kind of sucks. Like she just really sucks. Like she's
Right.
always trying to kill people. She's always trying to ruin things. And I think that's such an interesting contrast because you have to remind yourself this is his projection of Maul. And while there's the guilt there and he feels really bad about what happened, he's also like kind of projecting her in a negative light. And other people, their projections of her would be that she's just amazing to be around. So it basically his experience with her in limbo has soured his entire life with her.
Yeah,
whether that be real life or post.
She wanted to be brain dead so her two kids wouldn't have parents to grow up with and had to grow up with the grandparents. That would be sour too. Why are you rolling your eyes at me? That's literally what was going on.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
I thought
and then the whole time after they came
thought you were
back from
going-
limbo, she was trying to convince him to kill himself too, to leave the kids again. So
The next real moment, then going right into that, her committing suicide scene is heartbreaking.
oh yeah.
It's such a sad scene.
It's terrifying.
But she went to 3 psychiatrists to get that she's sane, called the police threatening her life. She then destroyed the hotel room that they go stay at every year on their anniversary. But then she goes across the street to a different hotel room and goes to that window and jumps out that window. Why doesn't he just stay in the room and be like, hey, she fell across the street. I'm not Superman. I can't throw a body across the street.
Yeah. Yeah. Mason, if you want to like poke holes in this movie, like this scene is hands down the biggest like part that I'll poke holes with you because
Physics.
yeah, like physics is at play here. They're screaming at the top of their lungs. Like
there's
Leo
no
is
way in Paris
yelling.
is
You're
not
gonna
here.
tell
Yeah.
me
No one in Paris is gonna hear him.
they're painting the setting to be like this is a crowded area. Like she's borderline jumping onto someone down at the bottom.
And you know for a fact the
You're gonna
neighbors
tell me
is like
no
looking,
one sees this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
there's
neighbor
no
in
way
the
they hear
room
that.
next door is like, what the fuck is going on
that's
out
a good
there?
point.
Yeah, and that's a fat hole. However, I think the way that you answer that massive question is this whole story is coming through the lens of Leonardo DiCaprio. So if you were telling the story, you were a murderer, of course, wouldn't you construct it in a way that makes you seem innocent? You got to keep that in mind as well. I mean, the narrative
That's an
is
interesting
through
point.
his character. It's not through anyone else's.
Is he an unreliable narrator?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, that probably goes back to how he projects the memory of her in his dreams.
Yeah.
So
That
maybe he
everyone
is
else-
like a really, you know,
Everyone
what?
else
Now-
thinks she's great, and he projects her as this murderous, crazy lady.
yeah, and Mason, that whole back and forth we had at the start of this. I mean, maybe you're onto something like this. He's the narrator. He's the one taking us through this whole movie. Maybe he does really suck. Honestly,
Hey,
I'm not saying I still stand by everything.
I appreciate you accepting my imagination.
But maybe it is
in
just
that
like a really
condescending tone.
Maybe he's a way shittier character than we're giving him credit, that we need to be giving him credit for. Dan, you get my point.
Yeah,
But
yeah, possibly. He very well could be.
I don't know. Those are just
Another real moment. The ending.
Yeah.
Everyone's shock and awe about the top. That was Maul's totem.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone else realize how much they focused on the hands? I watched it and I was like, why are they showing us a close-up of his hands? And he has his wedding ring on. Anytime DiCaprio is in the real world, he doesn't have his wedding ring on. When he's in the dream world, he has his wedding ring on.
That's
That
what
is-
she is.
That's what his totem is. And I was like, am I the only one who sees this? And then that's the video I sent you guys, is they pointed that out. The
So
top-
yeah, you told me about that before we watched it this time, and so I was looking for it. I could not see his left hand or wedding ring ever since he came out of limbo at the very end in the airport and going home. Were you ever able to see his left hand at that?
The only
section?
time I got a full like look at his left hand was the whatchamacallit, customs, when they hands the passport out in.
Oh, and did he have his ring on?
He handed it with his left hand and he turns it just slightly and there's no ring.
Ah, okay.
And apparently Michael Caine got told by Christopher Nolan that he anytime he's in the movie, it's considered real life. It's not a dream.
Who?
Michael Caine,
Michael Caine.
the old guy.
Alfred.
He
Alfred
never
from
has him
Batman
in his
movies.
dreams.
hmm So that was a big issue with it. And then, yeah, never mind. That's it. I just noticed that Nolan does a very specific thing of showing you DiCaprio's hands a lot, and they show everyone playing with the totem.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that over feet with whatchamacallit. What's his name? That director that
Quentin
always shows
Tarantino?
feet. Yeah, Quentin. Sorry. That's just an aside.
So that's when we said
Much
we
cleaner.
brought up Tom Hardy's totem, which is the coin that's spelled incorrectly. That's his totem. It's heavy. It's spelled incorrectly on purpose. For him to know, like, oh, I'm in a dream.
What's
I'm not
Tom
dreaming.
Hardy's?
Oh, see, I
his
took
his
that
is
as
a coin. When it's spelled incorrectly, you can assume when he goes to the dream, it's spelled correctly. That's his. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a dice, so it's always landing on like the 5 or whatever. This is what I heard from the video. I don't know.
Yeah, he said it was a loaded die.
Mm-hmm. And you can assume it's 5, I guess. But he's always landing on like a weird plane that makes it look like a 5. I don't really know. But I just want to know, did you guys notice the wedding ring?
Only
No.
because you pointed it out. There's no
Yeah,
way I
I
would have
didn't.
noticed that without
No,
you
I
telling
didn't
me.
either.
You notice it,
And pay
Jordan?
attention to anyone's hands in this movie, to be honest.
It's just
with you.
the first scene really emphasizes his hands. And when he's eating the food with the bowl and he has the ring on.
And he does have a ring.
And then it goes to the real world and he doesn't have the ring on. And I was just like, okay, that's his totem. Because knowing like the plot points and everything, and then knowing the whole top thing, like even if you, and the top wobbled. I'll agree we wobbled with it, but it doesn't matter. I don't think the top is not important. He's finally let go of his guilt. He's able to be back with his kids. He's connected with them. And I think that's the whole point of this movie.
So it is real.
I believe so.
Yeah, but then what's up with the whole like haven't seemed to age a single day, wearing the exact same outfit?
I don't think he was gone that long. I think he was only gone for like
2 years.
Was it that long? I thought it was like 2
They said-
months.
Well, and also aren't those like incredibly formative for young children? Like you would notice 2 years with a
Yeah,
child.
2 years would have been noticeable.
No, but even if
And I thought it was
it's
the same
definitely
kid,
more than
the
a few,
same whole
it's
movie.
definitely more than a few months. I think.
I thought it was years. They made it seem like it was years.
Yeah, I thought it was like 2 years that he was on the run.
Yeah, and like you would
Oh,
notice
wow.
that, and then like
Yeah, you're
Well,
right.
no,
they would have
because-
at the
definitely
very
looked,
least, you're not wearing the same damn outfit.
they
like
would have
you've
looked bigger.
grown.
Well,
Yeah,
the people
for
that
sure.
he got the people that gave him the plane ticket to leave was the Cobalt company. So you can assume a job is maybe a year long, 6 months to do the brain heist.
Point
heist.
is like the kids.
But we also
I don't
don't
know.
ever see what the kids look like face wise or height wise. They're always
Yeah.
bent on the ground.
That's
So
a
you-
good point. Yeah.
Until the end, I know
Mhm.
that's what sways you back in the other way. I know.
Yeah. All right. Any more real moments, emotional moments?
Um,
Let's just go into golden tickets then.
I feel like we've kind of covered it. Yeah. Let's go
Golden tickets. What's bringing us back? I'll say this again. Fucking hallway fight. My God,
Yeah,
that
that
hallway
was
fight's
cool.
incredible. Just
And
the-
knowing that it was a set instead of CGI
Yeah.
makes it so much cooler.
and the logic that like, oh, the car is rolling, so that's why the hotel is
Yeah.
rolling, and then it's gonna mess with the other dream where it makes an avalanche. That's just really detailed oriented that you don't need. like you didn't need that, but it's really cool in a really cool setting. I thought that was really
I
cool.
agree.
And also the settings of the movies. I talked about a little bit. What you're saying, the gunfires are so real. Heat is apparently a huge influence on Christopher Nolan, and the gunfires in Heat are incredibly loud. Where it was the same thing. Every time I watched it, anytime there had a gunfire, I had to turn down the TV because it was just echoing through LA, because that's supposed to be LA. The second level in the hotel is supposed to be The Shining, because Kubrick and Nolan he's a huge fan of it.
Interesting.
So the hotel is The Shining. The rotating room is 2001: A Space Odyssey, when the guy's running. And that's supposed to be it. And then the last level is a James Bond movie that I can't think of off the top of my head.
It felt so James Bond.
And he's English. He's a huge James Bond fan.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And then he did Limbo as like Antarctica glaciers, and that's why the dreams are falling apart. It's like ice dropping into the ocean. That's why it's all falling apart like that, where you can see it's beautiful in sculpture and scale, but you look closely, it's all cracking and falling apart and going into the ocean.
Dude, honestly, like I feel like the snow scene, it feels like I'm in a level of 007 Nightfire.
Yeah,
it so did.
Like that. That's what the James Bond
and DiCaprio's like sniping skills.
Yeah.
And I was like, I used a sniper on a snow level like this before. This was
Yeah,
awesome.
it was amazing. And then Maul had the golden gun, basically.
Yeah. So those were really cool. Big moment big reason I come back for it.
Oh, so you do come back for it.
I would watch the end of it.
Oh.
I didn't dislike the movie. I just think it's overcomplicated. I have a lot of issues with it. But if you're like, hey, you want to just sit down and shut your brain off and watch the last half of this movie? I'm like,
shut your brain off.
Yeah. This is a well written.
This is a mindless action movie to you.
100%. This is a well written, well acted Michael Bay movie to me.
That's so disrespectful. Oh my god.
Oh god.
This movie does not deserve that treatment. How dare you, Mason William Coates? You better
just throw my whole fucking name on the internet. Thanks.
Social security number is 378-6475.
Wow, you got it 100% correct.
Shit, that was only one digit off.
It's like the phone number that's not full.
You might as well say M. Night at that point.
Oh, by the way, guys, we're all in a dream.
I'm trying to watch The Happening.
That explains it.
No.
Yikes.
Anyone else have a golden ticket moment? I got more.
I got to say, my golden ticket moment is polar opposite from Mason. The complexity of the plans and the plot is my favorite thing about this movie for sure. I love that they sit down, they plan out this idea that they're going to go in, they're going to have him say this idea to his most trusted person. And then in the next level, that he's going to say it back to him and convince him. He's going to have his own subconscious convince him that he wants to do something. I was like, that's such a cool idea. They get there and they're like, this is not going to work at all. Flip the plan completely. We're going to make him hate the person that he loves and make him love the person that he hates.
When you said it was a heist movie, I got a lot of Ocean's 11 vibes from them, like planning it all out. And that's what I meant. That's the part I did like. I liked the planning it out part.
Yeah, the planning out scenes were so cool, I think.
And we'll go into more research I did. Nolan just said this was like a film set where Cobb is the director, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's the producer, and that's why he's kind of gone at the end of the movie, because the producer just sets up all the ideas. Tom Hardy's the actor, where he makes everything come to life.
Just like Mason Coates.
Arnia. God, Elliot Page's character is this set director and costume design and script writer, where they're setting up how everything's supposed to look. So I thought that was kind of a cool way to look at it. And then Cobb is supposed to be Nolan. He dressed him like how Nolan dresses.
Yeah, that's like a weird Nolan thing.
Yeah. Also, he's colorblind, so that's why all of his movies are kind of dark. He can't. That's why you'll never see red or green or yellow in his movies, is because he's colorblind. Can't see.
He might be a little deaf too with some of his mixing, but
Yeah, no, that's it's. This is That's
It's
another
just
one of
loud.
my
It's piercingly loud.
one of the moments I liked of it was the score. The horns that now everyone uses
Oh,
and
yeah,
everything was
I
the
love
first
the-
time the horns came around. The loud where like you went deeper, the music got louder, and then the song that plays that wakes them all up. Each level of the dream, it gets dragged out a little longer, so it's played a little slower.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool. I like loud things. I'm a big fan of having the TV blaring and everything just going.
I love movies with big booming noises like that too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love having the gunshots volume super loud and booming through the room. Yeah.
I have more of a problem when I can't understand one of his characters rather than it just being overly loud. Like Bane,
Yeah.
And like
the first time you
mumbling,
watched,
like, can't understand what they're saying.
yeah,
Closed
first time you
captions,
watch The
baby.
Dark Knight Rises and Bane's talking, and you're like, what is he saying?
Toss closed captions on. It'll make your life so much better.
Yeah, whenever I can't understand a mumbler, I have to do that every single time.
I just rewind it and watch it again until I get used to it.
Like
Just make it
Darkest
louder.
Hour, I could not understand Churchill. I had to watch that movie with captions.
Yeah.
I only need like 5 minutes and I'm good. I gotta get it going, and then after that, I'm like, all right, I know what he's trying to say. We already went over this a little bit. Nolan's ability to just make everything look real, not look real. How he does everything real. He does real practical effects. Just the commitment to that is unreal. And here's another compliment for your boy Nolan. I would consider him our Spielberg. Where like Spielberg had Jurassic Park, which we'll be doing in a couple weeks, where you have the dinosaurs that are animatronic and then a CGI dinosaur, and you have a hard time figuring out which one's which. I love that you're questioning, like, is this real? Is this fake? Or they have the stair scene and they go around to real stairs, and they probably built a real set that goes circular, but then he does CGI to spin it down and show you the illusion. It's like, that's just cool. That's just creative. Good work.
My brain still doesn't understand that whole paradoxical thing, but
That's what it's supposed. It's supposed to confuse your brain.
Yeah.
The stairs
Yeah,
are
I mean,
supposed
it's
to-
not something that your brain can comprehend, really,
Because it's from an artwork.
space.
It's from an artwork. The stairs look like they're going up, and then when you get to the top of the stairs, it's just back at the bottom. And it's just how the shadows and the lights hit the stairs that will make your eyes do tricks where you think it's actually going up. when
Yeah,
it's
have you
not
never seen
moving at
those
all.
like drawings before?
No, not one with the arts, I guess.
I've seen those in like math classrooms in like high school and stuff. Like, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I guess just a paradox is the only way to put it.
And it's cool.
Yeah, it's just a
And-
trippy, I don't know, trick of the eyes, I guess.
Anyone else
It's cool
have
in
a
a
golden
3D
ticket
movie
moment?
though, instead of a drawing.
I would say my golden ticket is just the second act. It's the level 1 dream, level 2 dream, level 3 dream.
It's-
Admittedly, it tapers. So
It's a
I'll be-
very long end. The
Yeah,
end drags on a
the-
long
yeah.
time.
So I mean, that's where I back off a little bit in terms of like, okay, maybe we could have cut this 20 minutes, but I don't know. I just think that whole middle section is pretty damn good.
Anyone else have a golden ticket moment, or do we hit all of them?
So my golden ticket is any movie that has multiple exciting things occurring in different settings at the same time as the end, like this movie.
Yeah,
Or, like
that's
Star
good.
Wars Episode 3: Revenge
Yeah,
of the Sith. Like gets
a
me
great point.
every single time because I'm just like, stimulation, man. Just give me all the fucking stimulation. That's
I
all I
agree.
want. And that stuff to me is great. And when it's all kind of like enfolded into this really complicated plot and everything that Mason hates about this movie, I just love it.
No, Jordan, that's a really good point. This is a hot take, but I love Star Wars Episode 1, and Episode 1 does that really well too, where
Yep.
little Annie's fighting in space. They've also got the droid fight, and then they've got the Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul fight, like
A lot
all
of cool
happening
stakes.
all happening simultaneously, and like having simultaneous like plot lines that are all kind of converging into each other. Like that's a fun way to watch a movie.
Lord of the Rings does it the best.
It's trippy, like in this,
seen
where they're
Lord of the
happening
Rings
at
and, like,
different paces too, like in different levels of slow mo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, The Matrix does it too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen The Matrix. We'll be doing that when Matrix 4 comes out, just so everyone knows. If we're gonna be stupid, let's be smart about it. I
All right,
I have like
Great. Bring him
couple
on.
really good ones.
Bring
And
him
that's-
on.
If we're gonna, oh, hold on, that's the wrong question.
Well, that's a good start.
Really good.
So they're
gosh.
fighting the dude, Peaky Blinders subconscious, because he's the first dreamer level, correct? Or is it the guy with the sedations the first dreamer?
In
No,
which dream level are you talking about? When they're in the van?
he's not the creator of any dream level. His subconscious.
So that's my issue.
I'm happy to talk about it.
So if he's not the creator of the dream level, why is his subconscious in someone else's dream?
His projections are inhabiting his dream. A different person creates the dream than the person whose dream they're in. The architect is the person who creates the architecture of the dream, and the dreamer whose dream they're going into, whose subconscious they're going into, populates that world with projections of their subconscious.
Okay.
Correct. The projections are Peaky Blinders man's, and his subconscious has been trained for the projections to like his subconscious to recognize, hey, this is an attempt into your dream world. Now let these armed militia go and fight the attackers.
Okay. That makes sense. They go
antivirus versus virus.
They go to level.
Elliot Page's character designed the world itself.
They go to level 2.
Right.
Where then they tell him that, hey, you're dreaming. Why are the subconscious still coming back to fight him if they tell him, hey, you're dreaming? Why doesn't it relax his subconscious?
Wait.
In the hotel one now?
Yeah. Yes. Because they then tell him he's dreaming and that someone's coming after his mind, and then
so
they
explain
that. They explained that.
Yeah. When they first were explaining to Elliot Page's character all that, and she was just discovering everything that was going on, he said, like, I can't tell my subconscious to leave you alone. It naturally wants to get you out of here. So don't go like picking fights with people, because they're going to fight back no matter what I do. So they went into, I think they went into his subconscious again, didn't they?
No. The third level of the dream is his dream that they enter.
Right.
But it's someone else's like maze that they built.
Right. So it's his subconscious that's around them and is trained to defend against people going in.
But doesn't your subconscious get quiet when you are then relaxed with the situation of knowing what's going on?
No, they explain this in the movie too. Leonardo DiCaprio told Elliot Page this, what Jake just said, and then they have a little exchange in that second level where Leo is telling
Peaky Blinders.
Leo is telling Peaky Blinders like, hey, making you more aware of the dream, and then they cut to Elliot Page and Tom Hardy, I believe, or maybe it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and they cut to them, and they basically are like, he's describing the dream, and then Elliot Page goes, wait, aren't you not supposed to do that? And then Joseph Gordon goes, yeah, you're starting to pick up the fact that Leo does a lot of the things that he says not to do, because he's basically pointing out the fact that as you become more aware of the fact that it is a dream, your subconscious is going to converge on you and basically
try to look for the people intruding,
wake you up. No, the subconscious like converges on the dreamer.
Yeah, and it's trying to wake him
up. So like in that case,
trying to wake up Peaky Blinders.
As he becomes more aware, Peaky Blinders becomes more aware of the dream. His projections, his subconscious, is going to turn on him being the dreamer and wake him up and stop the dream.
Gotcha.
And so that's where it's like this weird, well, why the hell is he doing that? And they say that it's very inherently risky, but he still continues to do it.
Because it was the only way to convince him to hate the guy that he wanted him to hate.
Yeah.
All right. That answers more questions. That makes me feel better. I was just like, I don't understand that. I must have just missed it because I was getting talked to again and it frustrated me.
You know, it would be amazing if we had enough listeners that then could like flood. No, listen, hear me out. That could then flood our comments and our app mentions saying like, "Hey Tyler, that little rant that you just went on, like attempting to explain that part of the movie, yeah, it's completely wrong." Because I
Sounded pretty good to me.
You had all of us convinced.
Well, it may have sounded good. I just pulled that right out of my ass, and it's probably completely wrong. So
No, it sounded pretty good.
We'll go with it because it makes sense.
It made more sense than the logic of this movie.
okay, all right.
If we could share dreams and one of you guys could control everything, would you? We all go in the same dream world and we're like, hey,
Why not? That'd be kind of cool.
let's just start fucking shit up.
Definitely not a good idea to do like what that dream sharing bank did, where they went for like 4 hours a day. But
Well, see, I'm gonna say no. I'm just gonna give you like a very hard no.
I think I won't have I would have a hard time sleeping from now on.
Exactly. It's sort of like smoking a cigarette. It's like, hey, like you could smoke a cigarette, it'll make you feel good for a little bit, but then
you
guess
feel
what?
like garbage after.
I better go have a second because I enjoyed that feeling. Better go have a third because I enjoyed that. And it's like the same thing with his dream. It's like, well, that was fun to create. I need that.
You went
Yeah,
with
you
something
definitely
that
need some
killed you.
discipline for sure.
You went with something that killed you. I went with this was remind me of alcohol. Of I'll have one shot and then we'll call it good for the night. And then you're on shot 12 and you're like, ah, and then you're dead. Just passed out in your bedroom by yourself.
The real question is are any of you guys guilty of anything? Because if you're guilty of something or you feel guilty, I don't want you in my dream.
I'm guilty of being a motherfucking badass.
Well, guilty of something that's gonna come in and like fuck up the dream. That's the thing, Jordan. Like,
oh, I have wait to that moment because I have a really good question for that.
okay.
What is your totem? What would your totem be? If you had a totem, what would it be?
That's a fun question. So the reason I don't like, maybe you guys can explain this. I had this thought as you brought these points up, but the like coin thing that I almost called him Ed Hardy, Tom Hardy's character.
His character is Imes, isn't it?
Eames, yeah.
Eames.
But anyway, it's a coin that like in the dream it's spelled correctly, and then same thing with like the loaded die. Like, I guess you just know what number. How can you not just mess with that within a dream? I don't understand. I guess the loaded die, but like the coin, like can't you just make it the wrong spelling within a dream?
I think
making it. Yeah, I think only you're supposed to know what it is. We don't actually know what number it's supposed to go to. We don't know what on the coin of how what's spelled incorrectly or what's spelled correctly.
That's right. Yeah, never mind. Okay, disregard. Back to the totem. My totem.
Oh, you guys ready for a good one?
Yeah.
All right. I spent a long time doing this today at work. This is what I spent my 10 hours at work today. My fake tooth.
Oh, that's a good one. No one would ever try and touch it.
No one would ever touch it.
Isn't it like an implant now though? So
it's never leaving, but the moment I can take it out, I'd be like, oh, I'm in a dream.
Oh my God.
I like that.
That's
not a bad idea. I like
It's a really good totem.
And if anyone wants to know why I have a fake tooth,
oh, here we go.
Message us on Instagram. I Keepin It Reel with 4 underscores. Leave a comment.
Tell that story to anyone who messages you?
If anyone just comments, rates, reviews, subscribes to us on YouTube and goes, why are you missing a tooth? I have multiple stories of my tooth being missing and they're all great. And the best part is every one of them I was completely sober. So it's just
and also just to give you a little tease, like Mason was a complete angel. He was not asking for coins to be thrown at him from 2 stories up there.
Wow, you're ruining it. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, you got to give them a little bit of a tease. We got to reel them in. Real.
Yeah. Like, rate, subscribe. Perfect setting for that. All right. Anyone else have a totem they want to share? Or think of one?
I don't know if I could
I'd
beat
like
that.
to have a totem, but
Now that I think about it, dreidel would be kind of cool, or like, you know, a trophy, like a Lombardi trophy, but like really small because it has a finger.
What happens if you had a yarmulke that didn't need to be pinned to your head and just was always there?
It's like the same question about like a hat. I get. I mean,
I don't know.
No?
You're talking about dreidels. I said a yarmulke. I was just thinking outside the box.
nice try.
Thanks.
This is killing me because I wish I had.
You know,
I kind of
like.
like. No, go ahead, Jordan.
I fiddle with my AirPod case all the time.
I notice I have to
something like
I have to
that.
take out the sound every time you mess with it when I'm editing our audio.
Yeah, that might be something I would use.
That's a good one. The magnets are very fascinating.
Yeah, the magnets too, man. Yeah, it's like fire. I feel like someone would use a lighter, but it would
That'd be a
only
good
light
one.
not in your dream. I don't know.
You guys have any?
I really want to have one, as you can tell. I feel like
Yeah.
I've been thinking really hard about it, but unfortunately, I don't have creative of enough brain to.
It's a butter
I
knife for
wanna-
Tyler because he really wants a machete, but the only thing that can fit in his pocket is a butter knife.
Yeah. There
Oh,
you go.
just do a switchblade. Do a Swiss Army knife. All right.
Yeah, there you yeah.
The one that cut off the top of my finger.
No, I'm not letting that be my totem.
Why? Because
Okay,
that's my blood on
that
it.
makes it sound like I did it. Hold on. He was
No.
borrowing my.
I 100% cut off the own tip of my finger.
What were you doing too? It was something really.
It was
I
for an
think it was
art
silly,
project.
like,
it was for an art project in
you were
class. We
cutting
did
baseballs off, like
yeah,
baseball
wiffle balls. I
covers.
was cutting them in half, and we didn't have.
Oh no.
You're cutting wiffle balls, hard plastic in half with a Swiss Army knife.
And I was like, I had 6 of them. I was trying to make 12, and the best part was, I was almost done with all the balls. Like I was just about done, and then I stopped focusing on what I was doing, and I just sliced off the top of my finger. And
So
then I
there
was-
you go. How about a finger? That could be your totem.
No, it's fine. It grew back.
Got a tooth. That's perfect.
Yeah.
The tooth is better. The tooth is the classic one because I can just close my mouth and be like, "Ooh, it's my flipper's back," and I can just flip it in and out of my mouth.
I'm jealous. Yeah, I can't think of a totem.
You're
I
jealous.
like kind of. Well,
You're
you talked
jealous that
about
you don't
pork.
have a fake tooth.
You're jealous that all your teeth are in
Yeah,
your mouth.
that's a fair point.
Any thought that is coming to me from a dream, I am not trusting. I am not following that instinct. I am leaving it in the dream and be like, "Oh, that's cool."
Did you have to watch
Why?
this movie to learn that? Oh, see,
No.
different takes there, but
No, that was just something I would just not trust because I have. Yeah, so
See, that's the thing though. That's why they said they had to make it. Sorry. It's gonna be fun for editing.
What kind of dreams do you have?
I mean, last dream I had, I watched John Wick, and then I was John Wick, and that was pretty dope.
Normally in my dreams, I'm just looking for the bathroom because my stomach is trying to tell me you have to use the bathroom.
Jordan, you bring up
hold
a.
on. An hour ago, you told us that you frequently can take control of your dreams and do whatever you want. And in those
Yeah.
dreams where you have full control,
Yeah,
you're looking
thank
for a
you,
bathroom.
Jake.
Most of the time,
Oh,
that's
I was gonna
100%
say,
correct. It's painful. And one time I was like running
What a
away from the
wild dream you're
police.
having.
I got a plane, and then they were following me in helicopter. Yeah,
And
I
you were just
couldn't
like-
find the bathroom.
You were like, "Hey, officer, leave me alone. I just gotta take a shit."
Normally, it's
That's
like
what you're doing in your dream. It's
Yeah.
I'm usually.
Sure.
I'm like fighting zombies or a fucking Star Wars character with a lightsaber, like fighting zombies
but
with a
normally I go to the
lightsaber.
bathroom, and
Mason
when I
also-
come back, I'm able just to control the dream. There you go.
Mason also touts that he can just like control his dreams left and right. And you're explaining
No,
that you're like
that's-
fighting zombies and bad guys. I'm just envisioning you like throwing on the Ready Player One headset and just going to town on.
That's
like,
exactly
Sweet,
what,
let's go.
that's
And you never
exactly
wake
what
up
they're
and
like.
say, "Man, that was a really good zombie killing weapon. I'm going to keep that in mind in case it comes to that someday."
Yeah,
And then
get
I-
out of here.
and then
Let the
I-
record show that Jake and I are skeptical of you both in your dreams.
I didn't say I dream every night.
Yeah.
I didn't go with that. When I do dream, I normally wake up in the middle of it and be like, "That's really dope." Like one time I had a dream that I was playing golf with Bubba Watson at the Masters. And then I woke up and I was like, that'd be really cool to go back to that dream. And I went back to that dream. And then Roy McIlroy joined us. And then I beat them both. And I was like, this is totally a dream. Because
Okay, I believe that was a dream, but like
Were you betting on Tiger to win that Masters?
No, I bet it on myself. I was like 100-1 odds. Made a lot of money.
Get out of here.
It doesn't happen often, and it's not like I'm not folding in reality like that. But I am like I'm going back to this specific point, and then I
always give myself superpowers.
And you fly straight to the bathroom.
He has an.
What's your go-to superpower?
It's either
To hold his
flying
A urinal, anywhere you
or
want.
shooting fire out of my hand.
It's like it's
Or water.
It's like the pop-up toilet on the sidelines of the Oregon games that like pop up. That's his superpower. It's like instead of Spider-Man shooting out web, he just pops out a portable
Oh boy.
jumps
Believe
in,
myself.
then sips it back in. The porta potty's gone.
That's gross.
Oh. If you aren't supposed to make dreams real places, and Cobb's subconscious of Mal keeps fucking everything up, why didn't they just make a dream of real places and not tell Cobb that he's in a dream? Because he's already having a hard time figuring out what's reality and what's not. So why didn't they just throw it in real place and say we're back?
Who's they? Are you speaking about him and Maul back when they were in limbo, or
They is the group,
why would they want to do that? I'm confused.
because they know Maul's gonna fuck everything up. 'Cause
So try and convince him that he's in a position where Maul can't come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I don't know. I don't know if it works. Maybe not. It's not the worst idea in the world.
I thought that was gonna have way more debate than it was when I wrote it down, and that was like actually the question I was the most proud of.
Well, I mean, I guess here's what it comes down to is, can his subconscious generate Maul if it doesn't know that it's sleeping?
Yeah, because Maul's only in one.
It might
only
still.
in one, right? So I feel like that's how he knows.
The subconscious might still know that he's dreaming and generate her anyway. And then
But he
would
can
probably
settle his subconscious all the time. We see him doing it throughout that whole sequence. He keeps settling his subconscious. Anytime his kids pop up or a glass breaks, he then relaxes himself and realizes that he can't let his subconscious takes over. So if they make him relaxed in that situation where his subconscious can't take over because he's relaxed, not thinking he's dreaming, then it would stop problem solved.
Yeah, maybe.
Tyler, you don't have anything to say to that?
I'm out on this. I'm sorry. I feel like I spent too much.
You know how
brain
you
power
said
in the
like
first
there's
20
too
minutes.
much. You know, Mason, how you said there's too much explaining in the movie. It's kind of how I felt about that question. I'm just lost.
Ouch. All right.
So
Damn,
many
sorry.
rude,
I wish I had more
inappropriate
for the-
comments I had come to
I
my
wish I had
head
more
right
for
now.
the group right now. I wish I had more for the group right now.
I feel like we really just like let Mason down, and I'm sorry, man.
Well,
It happens.
Well,
I
what are
also-
your thoughts, Mason?
I thought that's what he should do. They should just make it a real place and trick him, put him back on the plane. Just
Probably would work.
yeah, you can't tell
It's
me
all
it wouldn't work.
psychology. I mean, that's all this movie is manipulating human psychology. So
Yeah,
it's a good idea. Could trick the trickster.
that.
Okay.
Okay, I had a hot take that this is just a better Michael Bay movie. It's a better acted, better written, better directed Michael Bay movie.
You already said that one.
I know, and I'm going to say it again because I think it's one of my best takes I've ever had.
So absurd.
All right.
Where Michael Bay just explains the entire plot to you, which he doesn't believe his movie. He believes his movies are really confusing. You're like, dude, you have movies with robots punching each other in the face. Shut up and just let us watch robots punch each other in the face. At least this one, it's like you can go like, oh, he's explaining dreams.
Mason, can you go watch Tenet? I want you to go watch Tenet and just be like, oh yeah, this is the exact movie I wanted. They explained nothing, and this was amazing. I was so hooked because
If I watch Tenet
go
this
watch
weekend,
Tenet.
will you
I'll
jump on
Yep.
and we just
Yep.
we'll watch
All
it.
right.
You know me.
Okay.
Yep, you know me.
Wait.
I don't jump on those weekend ones. Like, but boom, sold. You jump on Tenet, I am more than happy to jump on a call and just like listen to you be like, this was the worst movie. They didn't show this. They refused to go here.
Oh, Ty,
And
your
I'd be
boy
like,
Patterson's in that movie too, huh? So you really liked it.
Pattinson, damn it.
Rob Pat fucks. Just
Yeah,
gonna
who
throw that
also
out
like
there.
you want to talk about looking like Chris Nolte? He like really looks
Yeah,
like
he
Chris
does. I saw that. So part of this movie is I liked every actor in it. All the actors were great. And that like
Great
Yeah, the
cast.
cast was great in this movie.
we can just go in the ratings down. I can start it off. It's not a movie I would specifically say I'm watching it on my own. So it would definitely be more towards the I'm going to leave it on if my remote dies. But I would be willing to like jump in an hour in and just watch the end fight scene until they go to Limbo and then stop there because I don't need to see Limbo because Limbo's too much.
That's fair. Just like after the
Yeah.
first half hour, and
I'm gonna leave it on if the batteries in my remote dies. Then I'm gonna turn on my remote and be like, "Oh, Inception's on." I'm gonna go to the last hour, and then forget.
You
the
said
last
you
hour and a
hated the
half.
last hour. It was too slow.
No, I didn't like the last like 30 minutes.
you
Unless
just
that was an
want to
hour.
watch the part where
I just want to watch
basically
the action.
all 3 levels of dreams are like hitting the
Yeah,
climax at
before
the
they
same
even go
time.
to Limbo. Yeah,
Yeah, fuck Limbo. Limbo sucks.
Limbo was a little boring.
Limbo was really bad. So that's my rating. I'm gonna leave it on as remote dies.
Really? I thought Limbo was like so cool.
Of course,
It
you
was.
did.
I just
It's a
thought it was a
cool.
little.
It looks cool, but like it took forever. You should have done.
It
Explain
does
Limbo.
look. It does look really cool. Him explaining everything to Elliot Page was a little long.
And the fact that he
You don't
didn't
think so,
tell
Jordan?
anyone
Yeah.
else besides the random architect student that he just hired.
No,
drove
I
me
Jordan-
agree.
insane.
I did think
I-
it was weird when
No, I agree. Yeah, maybe like
No,
there's a
not
little
all
much
of
that, but I
Limbo.
just, like
Limbo as a whole is not bad. Limbo, like it wasn't. It was just like too. It was a little too slow. But like you had some good scenes in there where they're jumping off the balcony and the storm's coming in and they're like starting to panic about what they actually like. All of that's really good. I just think walking Elliot Page through the streets and explaining everything.
I
was-
agree. Explaining the whole backstory of why they built everything the way they did.
Yeah, that
was
was a
drawn
little-
out. And I also thought it was weird. They were really on a urgent time crunch and they're just like taking detours walking through the city. It's like,
Which
Run.
you could argue.
get
Yeah,
moving
but
here.
if you buy yourself enough time, it's not that big a deal. But then again, they didn't because you're right.
Yeah, it was
That's a
like
fair criticism.
Time was running out at the end. Like
Yeah.
they
Hey,
barely
you can,
made it back in time.
Yeah, you can explain Limbo later. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Let's wake up, then explain Limbo to me, please.
Yeah, seriously. We can talk about this in real life when we're awake.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Jordan, fuck up the rating system.
Jordan, you're not gonna fuck this one up.
Of course I am. So first off, I hate the fact that I give good ratings. Most of the movies I feel like I give a good rating because that's not how I truly feel in life. But I just keep on popping on here for good movies. So this one, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a 3 stars, whatever the equivalence is to 3 stars in Mason's rating system. And then, you know what? Mason hated this movie so much. And I was like, you know what? Actually, I really do like this movie. So I'm going to give this like a 4,
Thank you.
solid 4 stars out of 5 because I don't know. What is that, Mason?
Buying a bargain bin.
You're watching
Buying a
on your
bargain
own time,
bin,
and
which I
bargain
still
bin.
to this day will always say to me is much lower than 4 stars because that's just how my brain works. So there you go.
I also just want to jump in and say I can attest to the fact that Jordan rates some movies way too low. I think I've seen you rate a couple of movies on Letterboxd, and I'm like, what the hell is this man drunk?
That has nothing to do with it.
I would say
He doesn't know if he's dreaming or if he's in reality.
I mean, are we humans or are we dancers? I
His
don't
dra-
know.
the top of his dreidel broke, so he can't spin it.
this is a 5-star movie, you guys. I mean, this is 5 stars.
I was actually not expecting you to give it that.
So you're giving this an instant classic. Because
Well,
you do
okay, no. If we want to do like, okay, it's 4.5 stars. If we
because
wanna
like
be real.
as a movie, like
this is-
a cinematic
So like
movie.
you buy it on Blu-ray.
if I was
4K,
trying to
not Blu-ray, what
be
the hell?
a film critic
Sorry.
and talk about framing devices and the cinematography and everything, this movie's beautiful. there's very few technical
Framing
things
devices
wrong.
again. Oh man, you're bringing
I
that up a
feel
lot
like
these days.
Leo mailed in the first half of this movie. Like
That's
really
what I
did-
said.
I didn't think so.
hate
I
his
didn't agree
acting
with
the
that.
first half of the movie,
Nah,
and it
see.
is such a turnoff for me.
I'll go
Thank
watch
you.
it back.
You agree,
but
Mason,
I
right?
don't think
Like,
that's.
yes.
I don't think that's.
Yeah.
That's a product of the
So,
script. I
the
don't think that's a
problem,
product.
the problem
of his
with it
acting.
is, I don't think I do think it's a problem with the script because I don't think at the time, because I remember you had a hot take one time, Tyler, that you said he should have been nominated for an Oscar for this movie. I don't know if you still stand by that.
I mean, Talia al Ghul did better.
Don't agree with that whatsoever, but it's your opinion, and I personally think it's wrong. His performance in Django 2 years later is better than this entire
No,
movie.
he deserved an
Sure,
Oscar for that.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And I think just from we have Django,
Mason's
have
like trying
Wolf
to pick a
of Wall
fight, and Tyler's
Street.
like, "Yeah, I agree."
I'm not picking a fight. We have Django, we have Wolf of Wall Street, then we have The Revenant, which I haven't seen, but I heard he's great in it. And then we have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Are his 4 movies after this? You can argue that all 4 of those are the best 4 performances of his career. So to think that we have been stuck with that Leo for the last 10 years, and then we go back to this one, it's a way lower bar than all of those. So
No,
I just
I
had
don't
the
think so.
standard for him to be up here, and he
I
was
think
like
that's.
phoning it in down here. And I was like, you're still better than everyone on screen, but I feel like you're just not trying.
I don't think he was necessarily better than
It's
everyone
like-
on screen. But
It's like LeBron, game 52 in the NBA. He's still going to get 26 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, but like you can watch the whole third quarter.
But he's
and you're like,
resting for the playoffs.
yeah, like he's coasting. I feel like Leo's coasting. Or like he gives it in. He has like a really good 5-minute stretch where he's just owning everyone. You're like, oh yeah, he's the best. And then after that, he's just like, I'm gonna walk with my hands in my pocket and give you exposition. This is my dream. That's my subconscious. How did we get here?
That was the house we lived in. That was the next house we lived in.
That's where I fucked with their brain and put her top and said that she wasn't dreaming and it wasn't reality.
see, but I think that's all script related. See, I don't think that's acting. Like I think that's just the script. Like
Uh,
anyway,
you're right.
entitled
That is
to
all
your
the
opinion,
script.
So, no, I look the reason. So rated at 4.5 stars. It's a movie that's a classic in my book, and
So it's a classic.
this is a movie that like here's what sells me on this being an instant classic. When tiny humans enter my life, this is a movie I'd like to show them.
That's
fair.
an interesting way to put it. Yeah,
That's fair.
I like.
If I'm
that.
going to show them a Chris Nolan movie, I'm showing them The Dark Knight.
Agreed. They're seeing that too, but
Okay.
this is for sure a movie that I like. Hey, you should watch this. Like, what the fuck movie?
It's a good rating system. I like that.
Should that be our top one? Should it go?
Show to tiny humans. Yeah,
Show-
Show to
Show to
something.
Tiny Humans, instant
Don't take
classic.
that one out of context.
Oh, I guess that is kind of show to our tiny offspring.
Yeah, let's not do that.
my child.
When we come up with conception.
That's gonna be such a good movie. I can't wait to produce it.
Oh boy.
I wish I knew how to Photoshop because I totally would Photoshop conception.
Inception to conception. Oh god.
Jake,
Jake,
what's your
what do
rating?
you? What do you got?
Well, I am gonna give this one. I would buy it in a bargain bin. I think this is. I mean, we kind of talked about this at the beginning, and it's kind of similar to what we said about Gone Girl too. That there's little details that you can easily miss, and I think it carries some rewatch value because of that. As you rewatch it, you would start to realize these little things, put more and more pieces together, and just like I said, you have to kind of build the science and rules of this fiction universe, and each time you watch it through, you could kind of piece more of those together. So I think it definitely would carry some rewatch value. I don't think I'd watch it frequently. It's too long to watch frequently and too weird, I guess, and confusing to watch frequently. But
It's the more too weird and confusing.
what's that? Average?
LFG baby 3.75. Screw your 2.0, Mason.
Wow.
I gave it like a 2.5.
Aggressive.
He wanted to pick a fight. I wanted to try and step up.
If I told you if I was going film nerd, it would be higher because there's a lot of good things about this that I will watch it just be like, I can't believe he did that. But we have just picked apart the plot, and I have a really hard time.
And answered most of them.
It didn't satisfy me, but we picked it apart.
I think if we run the tape
picked-
back, I think if we run the tape back, you may use the word, okay, I'm satisfied.
I don't think I did.
I felt like I
No, I
answered
think
one
you
of your
did.
big questions. I think I did.
I think I said I can get behind that.
Okay, fair.
It's a good movie. Okay.
Yeah, no, I understand why people love it.
I was
It's just
thoroughly
not for me.
entertained.
It-
I wasn't mind blown or like asking deep philosophical questions like some people seem to, but
that's my issue with him. It's not that it's a good movie. No one can deny that it's not a good movie. Like you
Yeah.
watch it and you're like, this is well made, well acted, well written for the most part, besides Leo.
Mason, what did you like more, Interstellar or Inception?
Saying I both have only seen them once up until this point. I remembered Inception more. I remember watching Interstellar and Lauren being like, oh, he's in the bookshelf. And then we watched it and I was like, well, that's fucking dumb. She got it
I
right.
still don't understand why
Spoilers.
you even thought that. In Interstellar, still.
We
Sorry,
are
wrong
very
podcast.
deep people. And when we have questions with Nolan where he has to get deep and weird and ask these life altering questions that I really don't think are that deep.
The answers they're in the bookshelf.
Yeah, why else would a books just fall off a cliff if we're talking about space and going into black holes in multiple dimensions?
I don't know. Gravity.
My takeaway is that you're not Tom Hardy. You're Christopher Nolan. You're better than Christopher Nolan. That's
wow.
that's the comp you're making. You're more
Michael
of a
Bay.
visionary than.
I'm Stanley fucking Kubrick. If we're gonna give me a visionary director, I'm Stanley Kubrick. Just fucking do
Hell
it.
yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yo,
Who's that?
you create your dreams. You can run with it. You can make.
You don't know
whatever
who
you want.
Stanley Kubrick is?
I have no fucking clue who Stanley Kubrick.
We have a movie podcast and you don't know who
Pretend like
Stanley
Kubrick
Kubrick
is a hard word to say.
Kubrick.
Shining?
The Shining,
Oh, okay, no.
Stanley Kubrick? What test am I taking?
Full
Is
Metal
this a geography
Jacket,
test or what?
A Clockwork Orange.
I've never seen The Shining. Okay, God's sakes, we've been over this before. It's too bright.
2001.
The Space Odyssey.
Oh, okay. Now I know who you're talking about. Great guy.
Stan.
Okay. Anyway,
Last week I was shocked by the rating of everyone gave it on 7. This week I'm shocked that we have a movie podcast and we don't know one of the most influential movie directors of all time.
Hey, man. I know who Michael Bay is. Isn't that enough?
I'm,
like you say,
I'm-
Mason, we're professionally unprofessional.
That's just
True.
yeah. I haven't said that in a while.
I know. We've been pretty professional.
Yeah. Well,
Not today.
I'm gonna fall out of my chair because my kick is coming and I need to wake up from this dream that I watched this movie.
All right. Let's do it.
Hope you guys all have a good time joining us. Join us next week, which will be a movie yet to be named because we haven't decided.
We had to plant the seeds first.
Maybe I'll play the music from this again. Hope you guys all have a good time. Join us next week.
Peace.
Bye-bye.